quick deck. Now, so Square is a really great system for retail, retail restaurant. They have a lot of features. Sometimes they're hard to find, but it's really does a lot of really great things. And I use it in both of my wine stores. So I want to give you a quick rundown on where you get the financial reporting in Square to book daily summary entries into QuickBooks. So the first place is, of course, your reports. You come to reports, and Square has a really lovely, perfectly balanced summary report that shows you your gross sales, your discounts and any comps if you're a restaurant, of course, any returns. They do separate out service charges separately. And then your taxes as a total, tips as a total, any gift card sales or gift card issues against all your payment types. Now, you have cash, card, gift card, other, and then of course external. And external now can be a lot of different things. If you're using Chowly or one of these other integrations to Square, like for a restaurant or a quick serve, now the Grubhub, DoorDash, Postmates, those orders can actually come through the Square register. They'll actually show up in this external bucket. And you can actually break that down even further. I'll show you a report to do that. And then Square shows the fees in the summary posting. Fees are removed from deposits. So when we think about booking a journal entry for the day, we don't include the fees in the journal entry. We take the fees out when the deposit is booked into your accounting system. And this delivery related fee, which I still don't know what it is, but they charge my store every day. But in general, Square is a pretty cost efficient system. So this would be a journal entry summary. It's a balanced entry. Your total net, this isn't just sales, but sales and liabilities against all your payments. And these two numbers in Square always match. Square's system works very well. So you could book a journal entry just based off of every day here and run your summary. Now, a few things to note is, by the way, this is all locations. If you have multiple locations and you have separate books, you're going to want to separate locations. And you can do that here. The other thing is you want to make sure that your time period is set right for reporting. They do have, you can set your reporting hours as custom. I mean, default, it's midnight to midnight, which is most stores. But if you're open past midnight, that could be something you might want to change. So you do have this summary report, which is really a good report for posting a daily summary. Now, when it comes down to sales tax, you can also, Square is very good about keeping your date the same. So when you change reports, it keeps the same date. This would be your breakdown in sales. For New York, for my New York store, it's very simple. There's just one sales tax rate. But for the store in California, I have sales tax, but then also the CRV, which is the bottle deposit for sales. So those are separated out. I'm not going to be paying that as sales tax. I'm going to be paying this as sales tax. So if you want to get your breakdown, you would find it here under taxes. Now, so those are the important things for that. Now, there's another important report, and not everyone has it. If you are using if you're using Square for retail, there is a cost of goods sold report, and this is the only place you can get it. They don't make this available in their API. It's not available any other place. But if you want to book your cost of goods sold, you have the option to do it here. And here you can grab the cost of goods sold and for the day, which you can book against your inventory if you're capturing your inventory, if you're keeping track of your inventory in the front end system. And just a point on cost of goods sold, I've been in retail forever with wine stores. I built a retail point of sale system. I have a lot of experience in small business retail. And so I believe that, you should use your front end system for keeping the detail of your items. Your quantity sold, your cost should always be in your front end systems. QuickBooks is not the best for keeping track of inventory, especially if you're a high volume retailer selling, selling multiple, 122 items a day. I don't know how many transactions this is, but hundreds of transactions a day. You don't want that detail in QuickBooks. You would rather just keep your inventory account and then reduce it each day by the value of the inventory sold. And that's a simpler way to keep track. I want to just stop real quick and make sure, because there aren't any questions. Is the questions available? Only hosts and panelists can answer questions. I just want to make sure that people can ask questions. So hopefully Ruth or Sam can look at that if it's turned on.
I'm seeing them in the chat.
Okay. Oh, in the chat. I don't have the chat open.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just open the chat just to make sure if there's any. Oh, there we go. All right. Oh, and there's a question. There's a question about inventory. Yeah. Setting time for midnight. Well, so if they're only doing inventory, if they're actually doing physical inventory count every year, you still should follow this method. I mean, ideally, so in my wine store, I mean, and granted, this is not ever perfect, but if I go to, Square doesn't have a very good report for the total value of your inventory, but let's just look at, where is, and this is one thing that's frustrating is they don't have a current, let's see, inventory. I'm not sure where it is right now. I'm going to have to find that. But basically, the idea, the model is that you take your cost of goods sold each day and book it to your inventory account. So ideally, I think I pull it out manually. Hold on, we want to go to accounting, chart of accounts. So my inventory account is always increased. This account always goes up when I put a bill in. So we have a bill from Southern, it increases my inventory. But every day I'm decreasing my inventory by dollar volume based off that cost of goods sold report. So each day, so ideally, if I could find that report in Square, which it'll come to me, this value 68,706 is the same value in Square when I run an inventory report, which I have to find where that is. But usually it is. Actually, my wine store manager in New York is amazing. It's off by maybe $50 a month. But ideally, you do an inventory count and you get the value in Square to equal this. And I will tell you, Square is not great for inventory counts and adjusting inventory. There are some add-ons that you can use for that. Let's see. Let me just see if I can find item. Anyway, I'll have to send it out. I can't remember exactly where you find the inventory value. Is it here? Yeah. Inventory by category. I think you can find it on this this report. So if you go to just Simply Wine inventory by category, why is it doing this? There, yeah, we have different categories. So they don't add it up. So Square is not perfect. There is somewhere in here. I'm going to send it out by email where you can find the inventory here by total value. I have 2 stores, so it has multiple categories, but these, honestly, they should be adding these up here. And there are custom reports. I actually just built one for my wine store. You can build a custom report here. Like I built this item sold report. You can do create new report. And then you can, it starts with this sales summary, but you can just add different widgets in. So, if you can't find the report you need, you might be able to create it here. They are a little weak on inventory management. So, so that's the inventory and cost of goods sold. I do want to show you now how deposits work. So your deposits are going to come in, and there's
just before that, we have another question about inventory.
Mm-hmm.
Says, when you sell an item on Square, does it automatically come off the inventory?
Yeah, it certainly does in Square. It doesn't come to QuickBooks. There's no integration for that, and you don't want that. But yeah, no, the value will reduce in Square, and I'm just blocking on where that report is. that is the one sort of weak part of Square, is the inventory value reporting. They really, really do not have a very great inventory value report. It's really kind of frustrating. I've spoken to them often about it, and I think that they are planning to change that this year. I think I'm pulling, but yes, the inventory of course updates. So every item that you sell, you can click in. This is a history movement report. So this shows you each item was sold, and here's the cost of the item. That reduces your value of inventory in Square. And if you adjust, we do have some adjustments. You can do adjustments as well. If you take something out of stock because you used it yourself, or it got broken, you have the ability to adjust, and you can do that on the inventory. But I don't want to go too long into inventory, but you do have the ability to adjust and see history when you come in here. You click on stock, and then you can actually make changes. If you damaged, theft, they don't have a lot of options here. But like if I take a bottle of wine home from my store, I generally put it under theft, and then we know that it needs to be booked to me at the end of the month. That's how we handle that. But let's go to the deposits. Not everyone uses the inventory tracking, although you should if you're a retail store. So now deposits are in here. Payments, they call it balance. Yeah. So these are your transfers. So how do I get to transfer report? So these are the deposits that hit your bank account. And like for my wine store, if you want to open this up to the whole month, this is where you get it. Now, you want this deposit to match what Square said it captured that day. So if you look at this, this is the deposits for the day. They're actually not going to put all this in because of the fees. So the total collected on 119 was 823.12. And they're only going to deposit in your bank account 803. But this 823.12, you want this to match your report for the 20th for this store. I think I have both stores together here. Yeah, let's go to the 20th. And then you can see down here that the cards, or is that for this day? Yeah, there it is. So it's for this day. And 823.12 was the cards collected before fees. So that, if that doesn't match, you have to change some settings, because otherwise you're going to go nuts. So because you won't be able to see, so this report shows you the 19th. That's the 823.12. If this doesn't match, you're going to go nuts, because your deposits are not going to match what you think you collected that day. And it's super important to come to transfer settings and then make sure, if you're on automatic, ideally you want your funds coming in every day without having to pay extra fees for it, because Square makes all their money when people want loans or fees. Otherwise, it's pretty inexpensive to use. You want to make sure your close of day is set right. If this time is before the store closes and they're still collecting payments afterwards, you're going to end up splitting your deposits, and it'll be across multiple days. It's impossible to reconcile that way. So you want to make sure that these are set to the point where they're definitely closed. I mean, I have this set to an hour after my store closes. And I also make sure I have it set that they're not charging me extra for deposits, and they're coming in pretty fast. So this is where you want to come. It's dashboard, balance, and then transfer settings. Now, one thing to note, I haven't dug into this too much yet, but I've had people ask about it. There is a debit card now for Square. You can start using a debit card against your balance, which can be a total nightmare for accounting. Our company is trying to make that simpler. I'm going to show you that in a little bit. But I have had people ask me about this, that people could potentially use a debit card to do expenses against their balance, which makes life a nightmare for bookkeepers and accountants. So do note that. One other thing I want to note, so your deposits are in this report here. I don't have loans, and actually I don't have any loans, so you wouldn't even see it. But if your client has loans, you're going to have to come to this capital page, and you're going to find reports on how much of the loan came out of that deposit and what it was for. Now, of course, you can also find it in this balance report. It would show here probably the loan amount taken out, so you know which part went to loan. And so this, this balance page and this reports page are really the most important things that you need for booking to accounting. And on the balance page is where you're going to find your transfer settings to make sure that timing is set right. So that's basically, the most important financial information in Square when you're doing summary postings to Square, which clients that are using Square that are big enough to have bookkeepers and accountants because they have a physical retail or multiple retail locations, generally, I mean, almost 100% should never be putting the detail into QuickBooks. It should all be summarized using these deposit entries and these summary entries. And then you can get your cost of goods sold, unfortunately, manually from Square. I'm working on an automation tool for that. So let me just stop here and see if anyone has any questions about Square. And then I'm going to show you how to book some of those into QuickBooks. If anyone wants to know how to find anything in Square. Seems like I don't have the chat open, but doesn't look like there's any questions right now. Is there a chat? No. All right. Okay, so I'll just let's see. Oh, here's the chat. All right. So is anything, Ruth? Should I go on? Yeah. Okay.
I think we're good. Go ahead.
Okay. So now, when you book these to QuickBooks, to do it manually, which we don't recommend, but ideally you could come and set up a recurring transaction, and you can then come and pull that recurring transaction and use it. I don't actually have one here, but I'll show you what it would look like, and use it every time to book a daily summary or a deposit. That, of course, is a lot of work, but you could. Now, in QuickBooks, you can quickly go to, this pulls up the most recent transactions. So I'm going to, I'm not sure why I have this one in here from the 15th as most recent. It was edited. I might have reposted it, but this is. Oops, hold on, come back here. Let me go to this one. This is my summary from yesterday. So if we go to the 20th here and reports for the New York store. So, and that's the 21st. This is the 20th. All right. So gross sales 223.66, and you can kind of see that here. I can actually split that out so we can look at both of them, and you can kind of see the numbers. The 23.66 gross sales. We do a journal entry. They're easy to find. Your discounts are debits. This is your sales tax collected, and this is the expected deposit, undeposited funds, and other tender. And again, we don't put fees in the daily sales summary because the fees come out of your deposits. The fees could go across multiple days, and also returns can affect your fees. So a day really should not include payment fees. In any system you're working with, your fees are always generally removed from deposits and expensed at that time. Your day should just be your liabilities, your income against your expected payment deposits. So this is cash tender, this is other tender. So now, if you were going to do this manually, you could make this a recurring, and you could, pull this one back up again and change the date and come here and type all these numbers in. And that's a lot of work, and I'll show you how to automate that in a second. And then a deposit entry would be, let's see, like this here. So the deposit entry that comes from that balance page, you reduce your expected deposits by the total collected on that day. You then have your bank account deposit, which will match in your banking feed. There's credit card processing fees, and then other fees that they withhold, which is that delivery fee. And this is what a deposit journal entry would look like. So now, if anyone has any questions or don't have any questions, then I'll go to showing you how you can automate that, because what we do at Bookkeep we have a small bookkeeping practice, and we learned, and I have my own businesses, and we learned, how to automate this in a way that makes our lives easier. And that's where Bookkeep came from. So bookkeep.com is basically an automation platform for revenue postings from Square, Shopify, and others. And it's very simple to use. Basically, when you sign up, you would connect your Square account. There's a bunch of stuff in here that is not relevant, but connect your Square account. You very simply map how you want to do your postings. So this is based, these lines are based exactly on this report. This is basically a Z report, or a daily summary, and we basically map to that report. So you have gross sales, discounts, refunds, your liabilities for gift cards, your sales tax collected, your gratuity, etc. We run this at midnight in your time zone to make sure your store is closed and we capture the right information. And we also even have more detail, which I'm not currently using in my wine store, but the sales categories in Square, we do allow you to separately categorize to separate income accounts in QuickBooks. So in Square, if you were to run a sales by category report, you would be able to have basically these numbers could come through into QuickBooks if you wanted to do that. So we have that ability. In addition, sales tax. So there's a bunch of junk because I test a lot in this account, but really this is the only sales tax that's applicable. But if you had multiple sales taxes, or like in my other location with the CRV, I need to be posting the CRV to a different account because I actually pay the CRV ahead of time. So it doesn't get paid out to someone else. So you can break those numbers down. And then the other tender total, as I was saying, Square, the reason there's a mess in here right now is Square does allow you to type in a note on a tender type at the register. We've actually taken that out now, and it's just going to be channel. So if you have Uber Eats coming through your point of sale, if you have Postmates coming through your point of sale, or Grubhub, it's now going to show up here, and you're going to be able to map that so that you can reconcile those payments completely separately. So that is how you do the settings, and you only have to set it once. So then every day we post that journal entry that I just showed you for this. And then when the deposits hit, you can map that as well. You have your Square expected deposits against your bank account, against whatever fees for card processing. If you do have a loan payment, we capture that and we can post that to the loan account. And a quick 2-second tip on the loan payments. If you have a client that does loan payments, you're never going to know the daily breakdown between interest and liabilities. So one thing that we've done is basically they say, here's a $25,000 loan. You're only going to get $20,000. So we instantly take that $5,000 as interest and then book it out over a couple months for that interest, with an automated posting, and then just take the loan payment reduction as principal against the principal, because you won't know the daily splits between principal and interest. They don't give you that information. And then credit card fees, etc. Subscription fees sometimes come out. And I believe now, and again, on that Square card, I think they do take your transactions out of your deposit, and we're going to start capturing those as well, because that's going to be a nightmare to manage. So this posts whenever there's a deposit. Now, so when you come to the log page that we have here, you'll see all your deposit postings, or you see all your postings. So here's every Square posting. So when I click on this, this is actually what came from Square and what already posted into QuickBooks. You can see what the journal entry looks like. This one's already been posted. You can quickly click through and open that journal entry right from here, so you know where where it is. We actually have a link in here to go back to Square to look at that information. And if for whatever reason, sometimes for instance, somebody ran the report too early in the day and it didn't capture all the sales, you can always rerun it from Square here. Or if you change your mapping, you can, we have an ability to change your mapping right here and save your mapping. You can then resync it with a new mapping. Or if you made a mistake in your mapping, Or for instance, actually, I want to show you, if I go to my bottle shop, this is a good example that I just learned from this example. I did not properly break out the CRV here. The CRV needs to go to a CRV account, which I don't have, so I can't do it yet. But all of these CRVs need to go into a CRV account. It's prepaid expenses, and then this would be against my sales tax because CRV is already paid for. If I make that change here, first I have to create the account, but I actually have the ability to come in here. I could just check all these off and resync them to QuickBooks. And very importantly, we don't pollute your QuickBooks. We don't want your QuickBooks polluted. Every time we post to, this is to Xero, but every time we post to QuickBooks or Xero for that matter, we always update the existing journal entry. So if I come here to Square and say I change my mapping and I want to resync this, it's going to always post to the same journal entry. So you always know where everything goes. You have a log, an audit trail, because we don't want any duplicates in QuickBooks. And we want you to know that, and you'll see here if you have to repost it. So when I come through and look at that journal entry again, you can see here that there's an audit history of the changes. Basically, it was originally posted and then deleted and reposted. And then that's really important. And on this page, you can quickly scan down and make sure everything posted. Sometimes if there was a mapping issue, maybe something didn't post, it'll show here with an error that it didn't post, and you can make the change and fix it. And we're getting much better at alerting people to come back here and fix it if there is a problem ahead of time. Plus we capture it ourselves. The Square deposits are also here, if I hadn't already gone over this. Let's see, there is a question. So if you want to separate food and drinks, it's done in Square. So they're going to have different categories, I'm sure, to basically so they can run this report. These are the categories. These categories come through into our system and then give you the ability to map it. So you would be able to map whatever categories they have in Square, and you can map them to the same account. So like these are all my red wines. So if I want to put all of these to red wine, I can put them all to the same account. And they'll all, they'll show up as separate line items, but they're all going to go into red wine. So if you have a bunch of food accounts, breakfast, lunch, you can put them all to food. If you have a bunch of beverages, you can put them all to beverages. So we don't, so that's how that works. And by the way, all of our integrations, My Wine Store is a test bed. So there's a bunch of things here that are in testing mode. All of our integrations work exactly the same. So our Shopify integration works exactly the same. We don't yet do Amazon, and we do plan to do Amazon. Somebody did ask, one of our competitors is A2X, and they have an Amazon and a Shopify integration. They're different than we are. They actually wait for the deposit from Shopify or Amazon to hit, and then they back into the revenue based on that deposit. We believe, and coming from a retailer standpoint myself, we believe in daily summary postings. Your books, if you want your books to be accurate, if you want to be able to look at a week of sales and compare weeks in QuickBooks, and QuickBooks has some really great new features under Reports Performance Center. If you want to be able to run these reports for your clients, I don't have any in this particular account, but you can set up new charts and you could do weekly sales. You can do sales by category. If you want to use these charts to compare weekly time periods or daily, you want to be posting daily summaries. A2X will post a summary every deposit, and for Amazon, that's sometimes only twice a month. For Shopify, that's only Monday through Friday, and that then posts revenue as based on a single day because they have to put it in on a certain date. So it's not exactly accurate as a day-to-day comparison. So that's sort of the difference between us and A2X. We do daily summary postings with the reconciliation against the sales. One last thing I want to show you though, you're in your chart of accounts, when you reconcile the payments, when we say we reconcile the deposits, what we mean is So if you go to your Square expected deposits account, yeah, hold on, this window needs to widen. Hold on, let me refresh it. So we post on the day of the sale, or on the day of the, come over here. All right. On the day of the sale, we post the summary. The summary increases, if you have it as an asset account, or you can just have this as a bank or asset account, increases this expected deposit account. When the deposit hits, we reduce this account, and this entry, as you can see, we reduce it by the total that matches exactly, and then we break out the actual deposit, the fees, etc. So these always match. So this is the account you can go to see that your client is reconciled. I've got all the revenue in because I have the deposits matching against it. I know I can go close this client's books because these are all matching. I'm just visually quickly, everything's matching. This looks good. This client's good. If I were to find one that was off, I would go back into Bookkeep and I would rerun the summary for that day. There is certain situations where a refund doesn't hit the summary. If you rerun the day, it will. But as you can see here, like this account is perfectly reconciled. When it's time to come to the end of the month, you know you've got all your revenue and your deposits in. And of course, the very last part of that is this. And I'll answer, I see a few more questions. But this is the most beautiful thing for a bookkeeper and accountant, as everyone on here probably understands, seeing this, knowing that these were actually found and QuickBooks is not trying to think of what was the match because QuickBooks is generally wrong. So we post this journal entry ahead of time. When the deposit hits, the match is here and it matches perfectly. So everything is just a match and done. These are some of these are from our Melio payments, but these are matches and done. So now that's reconciled. If you're using our tool like ours, then that your books are going to be, by the end of the month, it's going to take you, it takes me less than 30 minutes to reconcile my wine store account. And it does $70,000 a month. They used to do more before COVID in sales. With this automation, it's really a help. So someone said they have 3 Square Cash. I don't know about Cash. Square. So Square is, so if you have 3 accounts, so we do actually allow you to add multiple locations. So when you add Square, it's going to ask you which location, and you'll add each location as a separate line, map each location separately, and then you do have the ability to put a class. If you want to do classing, you can add a class, for whatever the locations are. Excuse me. And then you can also, if you just type in the location name, this will show in some of our reports because we do send an email report, but it'll also show in the journal entry, so you can name it whatever you want here. So yes, you can add, you can have 3 accounts. We do also offer the ability to run history. We do charge for the history basically on the same monthly plan. So Square is currently $9.99 a month. We are going to increase it in the future a little bit more. But as an accountant, once you get to 3 connections, we give you a really generous discount. So as soon as you have 3 connections across one client or multiple clients, you can run a history. So you can choose your location, you can choose your date range. You have to do it at least 1 month at a time. And we'll run the reports for each day and post the history. So if you have a client, you have to do their taxes for last year, you'd have to do 1 month at a time, but you can go back to any time period as far back as there's data, and you can run 1 month at a time from here. And if they have multiple locations, then you just switch locations and run that month. And then you just have to remember to also then run the deposits against it so that you can get the deposits in so they can match in the bank feed, so you can do the bank rec. And we do that also for Shopify. All of our connections are the same. Yeah, so so Bookkeep is, you can come to our website and sign up here. And as you see, we have an accountant's view basically. So all these are clients of our bookkeeping firm, or they're friends of ours or beta test customers. And so this is designed, every time you have a client, each one of these is a single connection to QuickBooks or to Xero. And then you can have multiple accounts inside of it. So, this client is an example of, sorry, that inbox thing is only for us, but that's going to go away. Square, they have 3 locations for Square and 1 location for Shopify. So it's all in here, and all of it books into QuickBooks in exactly the same way with exactly the same mapping. We also have a Grubhub connector. We have Shopkeep. We also have Breadcrumb, which is coming soon. And we're going to be building everyone, and anyone, actually throw into the chat room any systems that you think that you would like us to build to. We know PayPal is very frustrating for people, and the PayPal integration to QuickBooks is really not helpful, especially if they're an e-commerce vendor. It doesn't help. And also a Stripe integration. But basically, you can handle all your sales from here into one QuickBooks file. Yeah, Stripe and PayPal are very popular. So, I mean, that's the main, those are the main parts of how Bookkeep automates that for you. And I'm happy to answer any more questions about Square. This is recorded. We will be posting this. Square, again, Square has great stuff. I will find the, I'll email you out where you find the total inventory value, which I'm just blanking on right now, and where you find that. It should literally be, it's very easy to find. Actually, you know where I think it is? I think it's here. No, that's sales by vendor. Anyway, I'll find it for you. They don't footer. They don't have footings on their. They should have totals here. But Square is a great system for retail and restaurant. I use it in both my stores, and it has really good, accurate financial reports. To do manually, ideally, you don't want to do it manually. You want to be able to have more clients and automate this process. Network security. I'm not sure if QuickBooks can help with network security. I'm not sure if I understand that question, but let me see what other questions are. Clarification. Multi-channel. I'm not sure I understand multi-channel. So for Square, the only channels that Square has, well, all right. So Square, if they're using Chowly as an integration platform, or if you're using online, let's see, shoot, where's their marketing for? They have multiple integration platforms. They have an online store, which I do use, but there's also other ordering platforms for Square that you can add on. So, and those orders come in here. So actually, here's the order partners. So Square has their own website. I use those actually in both my stores. It works really well. But they also have Postmates and these other apps that are integrated into the platform. So if someone places an order on any of these, it will show up here in your orders, and with a channel. So, so when that comes in, we just updated our system now, so that when these orders come in, like this was an example of, we got an order and it was paid for in PayPal yesterday. It's the first time I've done that. So now for yesterday, then if we go to just the JT Bottle Shop, that will show here as external. But when it comes through to our system, it will show that it was PayPal as the order type. Now, and that works the same with Grubhub, with Seamless. This report doesn't actually show that. It doesn't show summaries by order type, but our journal entries will post that. And I can show you, we have another client that's using that. Actually, I don't have access to it here, but we have another client that's using that, and it will break down by Postmates. So while it's not necessarily a breakdown by channel, it is the payment types. The revenue is going to be integrated in your sales, not broken out by channel, but certainly you're going to get deposits from Uber Eats, Grubhub, Postmates separately. We actually will break that out for you so you can map those to separate accounts. Now, one other thing, so that's how Square works. And otherwise with Square, each Square location is how we then give you the ability to post. So if you have multiple Square locations, you'll add each one in the apps page. We do charge by location, by the way. And so then you can map and class those separately. Now for Shopify though, we do have a multi-channel feature. Shopify has multiple sales channels, and I won't go into it too much here, but you actually can break down Shopify. We call it cloning, or we're going to have it as channel breakout probably. And you can choose your point of sale to have a separate journal entry than the e-commerce. If you have multiple point of sales, we have clients that have many locations, and each point of sale is a new line here, which is basically a new journal entry, and their online sales come in a separate journal entry. So then they have the ability to class each journal entry separately, as well as categorize separately based on location or sales channel, which for Shopify, if they're using point of sale, is location. Also, Shopify has the ability to pull in Amazon and others into Shopify, and you can also break those out as journal entries as well. So orders that come through Shopify from other systems and orders that come through Square from other systems can get broken out in our postings to QuickBooks and Xero. So I hope that answers the question. All right, I think we covered a lot. I hope I didn't talk too fast. You can always email us at support@bookkeep.com with any questions. We'll try and send an email off on where you find the inventory value report in Square, and to everyone who attended. And we'll also send you the video of this if you want to show it to any other people in your firm.
Hi, Jason.
Yes, go ahead, Ruth.
Can you just show where they can find us in the app stores?
Yeah, if you sign up on our website, you can also sign up on our website. If you go to apps.com, you will see, if you just look up Bookkeep or Square, you'll find it under Square, but we're Square Daily Summary and Shopify Daily Summary and Grubhub Daily Summary. So, you can look at those and find them there. And we're also in the Bookkeep, I'm sorry, in the Shopify App Store as well. Or you can sign up on our website and just come to, set up your org, and you come into your org, and then you can add, add your apps here. And eventually there'll be a lot more apps to add here so that you can, the idea with what we're building is for bookkeepers and accountants who are always the ones have to figure out all these different systems that their clients are using, is to just make this normalized, simple to understand, works the same. The numbers, a gross sales means gross sales no matter what system they're using. Some systems call it tickets, some systems call it orders. Accountants understand it's income. And I need to, and so we've designed this only for accountants and bookkeepers. One last question, third-party vendors. It's possible. There's a question about a CSV. Yeah, so we're going to be built. We have some integrations that are built on CSV files. It's possible we could build a feature like that. We always have to build it to the format of the CSV file of the vendor. Our Grubhub integration, some of these integrations are not able to do direct integrations, and we have to either do it through CSV files or emails. But email at support@bookkeep.com or jason@bookkeep.com, and I can take a look. Over the next year, we're going to add 30 or 40 more connections, and our goal is to just make the lives of accountants and bookkeepers much easier so that they don't have to understand and log in and run reports and remember that the breadcrumb report is here, and the Grubhub report, I got to click in here and then go down here and click 3 times to actually get the export. And Uber Eats is even more difficult. I use them as well. And just to make it, once you connect it once, the data comes in here. All I need to do is come here to get the numbers that I need, or make changes if I need to. Otherwise, it just posts automatically. So I think that's a good coverage of this. And yeah, again, email us at support@bookkeep.com if you have any questions. And Ruth, do you have anything else you want to say?
No, I think we're all done. Thank you so much for attending the webinar. Yep. And you keep it, watch out for us. We'll be adding a lot of more connections in the future. So if you need any help, again, just email us at support, or you can chat us from our website, bookkeep.com. There's a chat bubble there.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, everybody.